Now, you're obviously all here because you're interested in studying at the Conservatorium, which we think is a very, very good thing. And please ask lots of questions, because if you've got a question, it's more than likely that about 10 other people have the same question. So please don't be shy. Put it in the chat box, as Pavel said, and we'll answer the question when we can. So, about the Sydney Conservatorium. Now, we actually think that it's the best, in fact we know it's the #1 place in the Asia Pacific to study the performing arts, to study music. And it's part of the University of Sydney, which is a really important thing. The University of Sydney was recently ranked, I think, second in the world in terms of engagement. That means how we engage with the community and with people outside. So it's a really good thing. And you can see some information there that we put on the screen. Now, the Conservatorium, you can see there is, look at the position. You can't get a better location than that, really. I shudder to think how much that real estate is worth. And look, it's so close to the Opera House. Circular Quay is just to the left of the Opera House. It's a magnificent facility, and it's very close to Circular Quay station. In addition, I said we're part of the University of Sydney because some of our music courses and classes are taught on the main campus of the university. So when you come to the Sydney Conservatorium of Music, yes, you come into the Conservatorium, but you've also got access to the whole university, which is such an exciting thing. Okay, some reasons to study at the Conservatorium. Well, I just talked about the facilities, but you know what's most important, actually? The most important thing is the quality of the teaching. And you think, well, I would say that because I work there, but in fact, I know that to be the case. We have the best music educators in the country. We've got professionals who are out there doing it. It's not just theoretical stuff. We have really the top researchers and the top music practitioners with strong links to industry. So I know lots of you here who've come along today are interested in contemporary music, and we've got really strong links to contemporary music industry, for example, but also classical music, also non-Western music, a whole lot of jazz. Our staff are out there doing it, and they're helping our students make those links to the industry. So when you finish your degree, you're really ready to go, because you can do all the practice in a practice room if you're a performer that you want to do, or you can all sit in your room and write on Sibelius if you're a composer. But it's really about getting out there and doing things beyond that, which is really important. You can also see we've got a lot of money for scholarships. Now we have two types of scholarships. We have merit scholarships, and they're for students who've done really well in the audition and also in their HSC or equivalent, IB, whatever you're doing. But also there's equity scholarships, because they are allocated on the basis of need, because we're really keen to ensure that students have the opportunity to study music and aren't disadvantaged by particular circumstances in which they find themselves. Now have a look at the centre circle there where it says breadth of expertise and study options. If I go to the next slide, here are all the degrees we offer, and you can see there's quite a lot. So we've got the Bachelor of Music, and there's ones in Composition with Creative Industries, which are things like film music or music for advertising, music for plays, digital music and media. That's if you're really into writing laptop music. Contemporary music practice. We've got an amazing contemporary music practice program, and the students, you should hear the work they're doing there. I fully expect them, these students doing that program, to be winning all sorts of music awards in the future. That's really amazing stuff they're doing. Musicology, of course, is the study of music itself. And again, some amazing staff here and amazing programs in there. Now, a lot of our programs, you can do the Bachelor of Music Education if you're really interested in being a teacher or coming from taking an educational focus on things. It's not only for training to be a music teacher, but it's also, just about what is education and how does music fit with education. Quite a really popular program there with students there. We've got composition, and I'm a composer, so I know all about that, but also performance, and performance encompasses classical, jazz, right through to non-Western music, right through to drum kit. It's quite a recent one we've entered in there. Now you notice it says with BAS option. Now, I'll just briefly explain to you what that means. And this is a new innovation starting next year, which is tremendously exciting. If you do one of these degrees, you can do a second major, not in music, but in something else that's offered on the main campus from what's called the shared pool, which means that, for example, if say you're a classical, you're really interested in classical violin, but you're also really interested in soil science. You can do a Bachelor of Music Performance combined with a Bachelor of Advanced Studies in Soil Science. So there's about 100 different second majors you can do. So that's a really interesting option if you're interested in more than one thing. You may be, on the other hand, just like I was at your age and only really interested in one thing, that is music, and that's fine too. You don't have to do a second major. You can just do, for example, the Bachelor of Music Composition or the Bachelor of Music Performance and just do music, music, music. And I know that's what I really love to do. I should also say that this option about having a second major is already embedded into these programs in the Bachelor of Music. So, for example, if you want to do the Bachelor of Music in Contemporary Music Practice, you have, through the structure of the degree, the opportunity to do a second major in Japanese, if that's what you're interested in. So it's not just music. You have to study music, of course. It's a music degree, but there's a whole range of possibilities. And if you look at the chat, Shauna has just put there the link to what's called the Table S, and you might want to have a look at that because it's got the range of second majors that you can do. It's really quite astonishing, and it's something that sets apart the University of Sydney from other places in Australia. The range of second majors that you can do, if you want to, is absolutely astonishing. In addition, you can do an arts degree, and within the arts degree, you can do a music major and have music electives in there. So if you don't want to do a music degree, if you prefer to do an arts degree, that's an option available to you too. You can see we've also got some postgraduate coursework units, and if you're interested in that, we're happy to tell you about it, as well as a really strong set of postgraduate research degrees. So for those of you who finished an undergraduate degree but want to go on and do a master's or a PhD or a DMA. Now, how do you get admitted to the con? Now, this is for undergraduate degrees, really, we're talking about on this slide. You'll see that we have the minimum ATAR requirement of 70, and everybody has to do an audition or submit a portfolio. In fact, your audition in this year is going to be a portfolio, and this includes if you're transferring from another university or coming from school, or you may be a mature age student or a non-recent school leaver and coming later. Now, you can see that it says there, applicants must register online to upload their video, audition and portfolio for the interview, and also submit an application via UAC or directly to the University of Sydney. Again, Shauna has put some information there and about how to do this. Now, please don't forget, that's actually really important. Everybody who does a music degree at the Conservatorium has to go through the audition or portfolio and interview process. Not if you're doing the arts degree, actually, you don't need to if you're doing that, but if you're doing a music degree, you have to do an audition and register for that and be timetabled for that. But in addition, you have to go through UAC. You have to go through UAC, and occasionally we get people who've forgotten. They think, oh, I'll just have to put it on UAC, that's fine. No, with the music degree from the con, we're very selective. You have to make sure that you do this online audition, and you've got the link there. And as we put down the bottom there, this year, all performance auditions, and this is also the case for composition and creative industries and digital music and contemporary music, or there will be an interview for everybody. All right, so everything is online this year for obvious reasons that I don't need to tell you about. And here we have some really important dates here. So the audition dates are here. The closing date is 30th of June. So what's that, about 2 months from now? But look, because you need to get your audition materials ready early, if you want to go for this early round of auditions, don't leave it until 29th of June. That's my advice. Start working on it a little bit earlier than that. And you can see the requirements. Every instrumental area, every discipline area has different requirements for the interview and the audition, okay? So make sure you're aware of that and you prepare your materials appropriately. That's actually really important, because if you don't do it, then you're just, when it comes to the audition materials being assessed, it'll be like, no, he or she hasn't done what's required, so you won't even get a look in, okay? So make sure you read the information about what you have to do for your area or areas. You can put in more, you can audition for more than one area. That's completely fine if you want to do that. But make sure you read it really carefully. The closing date for the second round is the 18th of September. Okay, so if you want to come in semester 1, 2021, you can either go for the early round, except if you're a jazz person, or go for this interview round here. So you must submit by the dates that are listed here. And then what happens is the relevant experts in that discipline area, so say you want to do flute, well, what happens is you upload your video audition to the website, or provide a link if you've already uploaded to YouTube. The staff then go in and assess your application, and then you'll go and have an interview, an online interview with those staff. So that's the process. And look, and keep your eye on the chat, because Shauna's giving you some really great information there. So I hope I've given you a pretty introduction, if you like, to the process of auditioning. Can I just say one thing to you, which I think is really important? The Conservatorium is the best place to study music in the country. And for some people, you find that a bit scary. It's like, oh, am I going to get into the con? You know, this place isn't for me. Well, I always say to people, I always say to applicants, if you don't audition, you're definitely not going to get in, okay? So if you don't, just because it's really an amazing place and just because the standard is high, don't put yourself down. If you're a fantastic musician who's self-motivated, who really loves music, who is so interested in music, if music is your passion, if music is your hobby, then give it a go. And please don't be scared off by the reputation of the Conservatorium. We are part of the University of Sydney and our standards are high. That's great. That's wonderful. That's a really good thing. And wouldn't it be wonderful for you to be a part of that? And in fact, it's the students also who make the reputation of the Conservatorium, who make it such a great place to study music and to be a part of a musical community. I know that when I left school, I mean, a long time ago, but when I left school, I didn't know what I was going to do. And in fact, I was accepted as a trainee computer programmer at BHP in Port Kembla, south of Wollongong. But I also decided, you know what, I really love composing, and I'm going to put an application in to the University of Sydney because I thought, well, Peter Sculthorpe is there and I'd love to learn from him one day. But I didn't really know. I thought, well, who else is applying? But I thought, I'll just give it a go. And I got it in. I made an offer. I had to make a decision about whether I was going to study a Bachelor of Maths, of all things, at University of Wollongong. I'm so glad I didn't do that, by the way. Or go and study music at the University of Sydney. And I chose music, and that was the best decision in my life. And I can say that, well, I shouldn't say that, actually. It's one of the best decisions in my life. I hope none of my partners or anything are listening to this. All right, so don't feel that the con is beyond you. Give it a go. If you're interested in music, if you're passionate about music, then why not do an audition? So I hope I've answered some questions already you may have. And now I'll pass you back to Pavel, who will tell you what's going to happen next.
Thank you very much, Matthew. We are now off to Scott Ryan, who will talk about the admissions at the con. And I just want to remind to everyone to please leave your specific audition questions, requirements by instrument and area, to the breakout sessions that we will have at the end. But for now, we are off to Scott.
Thank you, Pavel. As said, my name is Scott Ryan. I'm the Artistic Planning Manager at the Conservatorium. And part of my role is to work with you in getting you ready for your audition, all of the pre-admission work that we do. I have a wonderful colleague that you'll meet via email and things like this, Shauna Crick. And our job is to make the application process as easy as we humanly possibly can for you. I'm going to just walk through just a little bit of our website just to help you understand what it is that you're up for. The most important section for applying to study at the Con, funnily enough, is this section here called Study Music. And the page in particular that you're going to find out most of the information is here on the admissions page. The key thing here, other than reading all of the information, is to have a look at the application dates that Matthew also shared in his PowerPoint presentation with you. And you'll see the application closing dates and when the actual auditions will be. The key thing is to have a look at the audition requirements and familiarise yourself with these. Talk to your teacher, talk to your parents, your families, and come in here and make sure you really understand what it is that you need to do to come and study at the Con. We've included in here a whole section on how to best prepare yourself for a video audition or your portfolio if you're going for a portfolio interview. If I keep scrolling down and just happen to choose contemporary music practice as the area that I'd like to audition in, we can see here all of the steps that I need to do in order to make sure I'm ready to have my application. Once you've familiarised yourself with all of the audition requirements, you're then required to register for your audition. And we use a platform called Accepted. And give that a second to load. And this is where you will register yourself for your interview, upload your portfolio materials, upload your video audition. So for example, I'm going to study an undergraduate degree, and I think I would like to study a Bachelor of Music Education in Historical Performance, and then it will tell me what I'm going to do. All of this, we come through, we click on apply. Now, unfortunately, this next screen I can't help you with just because I'm a staff member, but you will log in here, create yourself a profile, and then upload your materials. As Matthew said, all of our interviews or auditions this year will all be online. Due to COVID-19, we won't be holding live auditions in the traditional sense. So if you're auditioning for a performance-based degree, you'll need to film yourself after you've studied the audition requirements and upload your video there. Our faculty will watch your video, and then we'll organise with you a Zoom interview at the time that you have scheduled yourself for. In that interview, and that's probably a really bad word, I'd like you to think of it more as a chat, a chance for you to meet the faculty that you'll be studying with, a chance for the faculty to meet you. And I wouldn't get too concerned about the kind of questions you'll be asked. It's not about that. It's more about you having a chance to hear from the faculty on what it is that they do, what they're passionate about, and they'll talk to you about the same sort of thing. So there's certainly no need to prepare like a job interview or anything like that. It's just more of a casual chat. The final thing that I'd like to emphasise with you is if you are unable to have an accompanist this year due to social distancing measures or anything of that nature, that's absolutely fine. There is no requirement this year for you to insist upon having an accompanist. Our panel will take all of that into account when they're watching your video, and there will certainly be no disadvantage shown to you if you are unable to have an accompanist this year. So I think that covers my section of the presentation. Thank you, Pavel. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us at con.apply@sydney.edu.au. Thank you.